The last place the self hides. There comes a quiet shift, not fireworks, not revelation, just a soft internal click. The search slows down, the questions lose urgency. A warmth spreads and the mind says, oh, it feels complete, settled, certain. And in that certainty, something almost invisible takes shape, not pride, not arrogance, something far more subtle, a position. The sense that someone now understands. It's delicate, refined, spiritual. But look carefully. If understanding appears, to whom does it appear? There's a faint leaning forward in the body, a barely noticeable tightening in the chest, as if something wants to preserve this clarity. That movement is important. Truth does not need preservation. Only conclusions do. Notice the difference. The mind says, this is it. And instantly, without drama, a center forms around that statement. A knower, not the loud ego that says, I am special, something quieter. I see clearly. That sentence seems harmless. But inside it is a reference point, a location, a subtle owner of insight. And the moment ownership appears, effort follows. Now there is something to maintain, something to stay aligned with, something that must not be lost. Clarity becomes a responsibility, and responsibility implies a manager. Look closer. Was there a manager a moment ago? Or did that arrive with the thought? The most persistent illusion isn't ignorance. It's the assumption that awakening belongs to someone. The mind is brilliant. It can step out of the story and then quietly become the narrator of the absence of story. It says, there is no self, but it says it from somewhere. That somewhere is the final hiding place. It's not loud. It feels mature, balanced, gentle. It even sounds humble. But humility can still revolve around a center. The ego does not mind being dismantled. It simply rebuilds itself as the one who has been dismantled. This is why certain silence feels heavy, not because silence is heavy, but because it's being held by no one, yet subtly curated. You can feel it, a slight tension under stillness, as if awareness is being performed. Ask quietly, who is maintaining this? Not intellectually, not philosophically, just feel into the question. Does this moment require supervision? Is experience asking to be managed? Without the thought of a watcher, does anything collapse? Notice how everything continues. Breath happens, sounds happen, thoughts arise. But do they report to anyone? There is seeing. But is there a seer apart from seeing? There is knowing. But can you find the knower? Not an idea of a knower, not a spiritual identity, an actual entity. Look. You may find sensations. You may find thoughts claiming position, but the claimant is also seen, which means it isn't the center. The final illusion isn't, I am the body. It's, I am the one who understands, I am not the body. That's far more sophisticated and far more fragile, because now there's something to defend. When someone disagrees, irritation appears. When confusion arises, anxiety returns. Why? Because clarity has become personal property, and property must be protected. But truth isn't property. It doesn't belong. It doesn't sit in a container called me. It doesn't improve you. It doesn't elevate you. It simply is, without position. Notice how quickly the mind says, yes, yes, I see this. Pause there. That reflex, that quick internal nod, is the mechanism. The mind wants to conclude. Conclusion creates a center. A center creates continuity. Continuity recreates identity. Identity recreates effort, and effort reintroduces tension. The self is not sustained by noise, it's sustained by subtle agreement. Agreement with the thought that says, this is mine. Even peace can be claimed, even emptiness can be claimed. Even the statement, there is no self, can be claimed, and the one who claims it feels calm. But underneath that calm is maintenance. Watch carefully in daily life. You hesitate before speaking, wanting to respond wisely. Who wants to appear wise? You remain silent in conversation, wanting to seem centered. Who is curating that image? You feel drained after social interaction, not because others took energy, but because an identity was being upheld. That upholding is tension. And tension is the signature of self-reference. Now here's the simplicity. Nothing needs to be removed. Not the thought, not the reaction, not the identity appearing. Only see that it appears. And whatever appears cannot be what you are. Even the thought, I am awareness, appears, so it cannot be the center. Awareness doesn't announce itself. It doesn't say, I am here. It doesn't confirm. It doesn't stabilize. It doesn't practice being itself. The idea of practicing awareness already assumes distance. Distance creates a practitioner, and a practitioner recreates the dream. This doesn't mean effort is wrong. It just means effort belongs to the mind. And the mind isn't a problem. It's only a problem when believed. So when the thought arises, I finally understand. Let it arise. Notice it like a sound passing through space. Does space cling to the echo? Does it archive it, or does it allow it to dissolve? Clarity doesn't need memory, presence doesn't need reinforcement, and truth does not improve with repetition. If a moment feels awkward, let it be awkward. If confusion appears, let it be confusion, without assigning it to anyone. Notice how experience functions perfectly without ownership. The heart beats, the world turns, thoughts move, without a center issuing commands. The idea of a center is just another appearance. And appearances don't need removal. They need non-participation, not suppression, not resistance, just the absence of belief. The final veil is extremely gentle. It whispers, I'm beyond this now. Smile when you hear that. Not mockingly, but with recognition. The pattern hasn't failed. It's simply resurfacing in refined form. Let it speak. Let it dissolve. No correction required. Nothing to finalize. Nothing to achieve. Nothing to hold. And notice, when no one holds clarity, clarity remains. When no one claims peace, peace remains. When no one stands at the center, life moves without a center. No arrival, no departure, no owner, just this. Before the thought, during the thought, after the thought, untouched. And when the next whisper comes, I see it. Let it pass, without reply, without agreement, without resistance. And notice, what was never speaking was never silent either.